So with all of that turmoil going on, one day it just seemed the puzzle all fit. And then 7 weeks after that, um, my daughter, Elisa, the only child I had, was killed in a boating accident. And what can I tell you? It was her death that eventually spurred me on to go out there and search and seek for something. And that's how I ended up on this path of energy healing, energy medicine.
Well, that's an incredible journey to work through. I can't imagine what you went through, but I mean, in that depth of feeling and healing, I think that's important to show that you can actually heal through some of the devastating things as well as the more common things that would happen regularly.
Right. And during that period of time, in the few years after her death, I must say I had tremendous support around me. I had family, I had friends. And, when something like this happens, we all do. And it was a great distraction for me during those few years. I worked, traveled, life was okay. But I knew deep down inside of me was this desperation. And that desperation was my secret. I never shared that one with everyone. And as I started to feel that, and I became so aware of it, I questioned, what's the meaning of life? Like, why am I here? So, yeah, it was pretty.
What was the secret that you're talking of? Like, what did it feel like?
It was tremendous pain, emotional pain. It was trying, and I didn't want to share that pain with everyone. I thought if I just kept going and I could laugh and I could smile and I could travel and we could do all these things together, it would go away.
Yeah.
And I kept doing it and doing it. But guess what? I cried in tears but all of that, people listening to me, I realized that people will listen to me forever. There was not a problem with that, but nothing was changing. And that was that desperation. Nothing was changing. I had a tremendous support system around, however, nothing was changing.
Well, and you've described it to me in the past as like a temporary relief sort of thing. Would you say that is how you were feeling? Like talking to people was more of that temporary?
Yes, because that's all I knew is you go and you sit and you speak to your family, you speak to your friends, and they're there for you and they listen to you and you go, you have that relief. But it's temporary, in a very short time. And when I say short time, the day or two or less, it's back with you again. And I couldn't imagine living my life like that. I could not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I've had similarities as I expressed, when I did first meet you, being in the depths of, I could cry myself to sleep. I could drink as much as possible, but it still wasn't taking away that inside. What life lessons do you think that you've learned from this work?
Well, I think the first thing I did was I searched out something a program that would help me. And I did. I found a program in Ottawa taught by the Algonquin medicine man, Pete Bernard. And I committed to that program and to healing myself. I really, really did. 6 years of study and consciously working on myself and healing myself with my teacher, with my mentors, and with what I learned along the way. And I learned that, you know, we're always learning, we're always evolving, and we live with patterns, habits, limited beliefs, you know, attachments that prevent us from moving on. And yes, you know, the death of one's child is, you know, quite significant. But I also, you know, had to realize that for me, that was the most incredible thing. It was the most significant thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And as I started doing my healing work and speaking to others and working with my classmates, you know, you learn that in life, we all have traumas and wounds that happen to us. You know, and along the way, we, you know, we have a choice. What do we do with them? Um, you know, as I moved along the way, I saw the guilt and the fear that I was living with, the guilt of, you know, if I hadn't have let her go away for the weekend, what would have happened? Would she still be alive today? You know, just so many things that you question, and you know, you have so many sleepless nights. You can question your life you know, for everything.
And
I'm
go
sure
over and over in your mind and play like a film.
exactly. And it just,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what happened. It just kept going over and over and over, like a film. And you know, what can I tell you? It's, you know, it's what drove me to do my studying, but it's also taken me to a place that I never ever imagined I would get to now have my own healing practice.
Well, and your background is in finance, isn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, you think of finance, and you know, and I thought, oh, that's where I would stay until, you know, one day I would retire, and then, I don't know, do whatever, figure it out then. But this, you know, it happened to me at a very young age. I was nowhere near retirement. And yet I no longer wanted to do that work anymore. Um, I did find other kinds of work that I enjoyed doing along the way. But it, as I studied more and more, I realized that I could take what I have learned and I could go out there and share my experiences with others. Do whatever,
Yeah.
figure it out then.
Yeah.
But this, you know, it happened to me, pardon, very young age. Yeah.
So coming from like
Exactly.
more of a black and white um, training or thinking, as far as finance goes, going into more of a creative, colorful world, do you think that that would be a fair assumption from the two? Because I know you've explained this to me before and you had an interesting explanation of it.
Well, yeah, you know, there's a process when you're in finance that you do, and to get from A to B. And I realized that there's also a process in healing from A to B. And so it's really, you know, I never connected the dots between the two, but the more I got into this work, I realized that there is a process, you know, to reach that balance. And when you're in finance, it's all, you know, it's balancing the books. And I guess you could say, you know, living our lives, it's about balancing the, you know, the book of our life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, what about, I know in this next question, we've talked about limiting beliefs. So what do you do with a client or a guest that you see? What would be sort of the process and offerings for them?
Okay, well, you know, people will call me, um, and it's, you know, meeting with them, understanding why they've come to see me, and what is it at that moment in their life that they are having, that they are being challenged with. You know, again, um, you know, we have negative thoughts, negative beliefs, negative emotions, you know, to identify all of that. And after a short time of speaking, well, I have what I call my magic toolbox.
Which is my favorite.
Yeah.
I
And
always know
yeah,
something's going to happen.
and within my toolbox are different ceremonies and tools that I use to help you become aware of what's going on. Because what's happening today, in some of your issues are not things that started, last week, last month, or last year.
Right.
They go further back. And I'll call them a journey, a ceremony, because my work is uh, my work is related to shamanism, and we have ceremonies.
Yep.
They're a guided ceremony where I take my client and they just follow my instructions and follow what I'm saying to them, and we just go on this place and do some discovering.
So when you say you go to a place, now I've experienced that because I've been seeing you for quite some years. But for those of you that maybe haven't experienced this, Linda's not physically taking you to the top of a waterfall, let's say. It's more visual, isn't it? Like, how would you explain that to people, Linda?
It's taking them to a place in their life where maybe something happened that they can become aware of, that they can realize. We don't relive whatever's happened in
I
your
was
life.
just going to ask that question.
No, we
That's
do
really
not. Yeah, it's just to become aware of, to understand it, and to see that whatever that issue was is still playing in your life today. The past is still in the present.
like the emotion of it, the feeling of it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, when my clients start to realize that and to see, and they know, when they come to see me, and I, as I'm talking to them and explaining it to them, they get an understanding of it. And then, they're a bit concerned about the first one because, I say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they go, how am I going to see that? And I say, okay, close your eyes. Can you see a green apple? And they say, yeah. I said, okay, imagination. Imagination is tremendously powerful. So, so powerful. And
Hi,
they,
Liam. Thank you for joining, guys. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to acknowledge that there is a few people watching us right now. Not as many as the first one, because apparently it was hilarious seeing us not know people were there. But thank you for watching. And please, if there's anything that you would like to ask myself or Linda during this process of explaining, and introducing one of my very good friends to you, just pop in the comments and I can see the comments and I can relay that to Linda. So I'll just keep watching for some comments. Oh, Laura is watching. Linda, you know Laura. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions, please interact. It's really important to create the atmosphere, and I know everybody has got to have a question. Laura, thank you. Laura says hi, and she loves us both. So thanks for watching, Laura. And Gwen's watching too.
okay.
Thank you, ladies. So yeah, if you can just pop your questions in the comments, and as Linda and I speak, I will keep my eyes on the comments as well. So for me, when I've experienced journeys and healings with you, it has been like a kind feeling. I don't feel judged. It doesn't feel like this fairy tale pixie dust. You're not doing a dance around me, like nothing over the top like that. And I would think that it's at the level of the client. Is that right, Linda?
Correct. Yeah, it is. You can say I ask you questions, and the answers, your answers to the questions will give you some idea as to where you are and how you're living your life. And, you know, by that, by asking those questions, it's then up to each individual to decide whether they want to change their life. It's a choice.
So is
You,
it like pulling out sort of the unconscious things that that person might want to heal themselves or focus on? Is that
it
what?
could be, it could be unconscious, but sometimes when we look back as an adult to something that happened to us when we were younger, it doesn't have the same power as a 40-year-old as it
Right.
does maybe a 3 or a 4-year-old. So we always have to remember that whatever happened to us at a young age, you know, you've got to put your child eyes back on again and look back at it at a very with a different take on it. Um, and so when I explain that to some people, they go, "Oh, but it just was." I say, "Yeah, it just was. However, you know, as a 5, 6, 7-year old, how did it feel then? You know,
Yeah.
what was it you felt then?"
So when I say things like, I don't know, or it just was, I began to realize that actually that's me trying to protect from going back to that space, or I don't want to deal with it, even though I do. Is that true for people, do you think?
It is for some, you know, there's the I don't know is maybe I don't remember, but I don't know is not an answer.
Right.
So we will work, you know, I'll ask the question differently. We'll discuss it differently. We'll come around it from a different way until they can know, you know, and sometimes they'll say, "I really don't know," and that's okay. But
Yeah.
they'll text me, you know, 3 or 4 days later and say, "Oh my gosh, Linda, you can't believe what happened."
Yeah. I've done that to you so many times. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and
Um,
they're like so surprised because sometimes we don't think that, you know, I don't want people to look at me and say, "Oh, look at her story." You know, yes, that was my story, but I'm here today to tell you my story. I'm happy, you know, I'm living the life I want to live. So what I'm saying to you is that they don't realize that something so insignificant can have such a could lead to such a wound within them.
yeah.
And you know, um, and sometimes they don't remember. I've had clients who go home and say to their mother, "Hey, mom, what happened?" Or to their dad or their brother or sister, "Does anybody remember?" And, you know, they'll call back and say, "This is what I found out."
Yeah.
So, you know,
That's pretty interesting.
yeah, there's always an answer, always an answer.
One of
Um,
the journeys that I did with you, I guess within the first couple of months of me working with you, about 5.5 years ago, I would say, was pretty awesome. And I mean, I'm not about to explain how it happened, but we did a little journey, and you guided me through the whole thing. And the point of what happened was I explained my home, what it looked like, the color of it, um, the landscape around it, the feeling when you open the door, um, the colors of the walls, like every detail I possibly could give is what we did. So I guess in the beginning of me, so when I met you, Linda, I was in an abusive relationship. I was being locked in a house. There was all kinds of very, very traumatic abuse happening for me. So I left that relationship, and then we worked on what would be my, what do I want to work towards? And at the time, and now it's a home. And so I explained this, and then I started dating my boyfriend, Scott. And it was the first time I was at his house. I drove up to the wrong driveway to begin with, But once I figured out the right house, I drove into the driveway and it was exactly the explanation of what I had given Linda, to the point where I took a picture and sent it to her. And that was within weeks of doing that healing. So in my mind, I became clear on what I finally had been looking for. We had worked on self-worth. So then I knew now that I deserved to have a loving, caring relationship. Do you remember that, Linda?
Oh, I do. I really, really do. Because, it was to take you to a place, because, your home was not a happy place and had never been a happy place. So as we did all that healing work, eventually you were ready to start to define, well, what would a happy home, what would a loving home, what would a home with a healthy relationship look like?
Yeah.
And I remember you describing it and I'm going, oh my gosh, because you were so, how you explained so much, going up the driveway and figuring she's living in the country.
Yeah. And I didn't even know that, before that. I mean,
Yeah. So it's many, what I want your listening audience to know is that nothing is too small and nothing is too big in terms of healing. Anything is possible. It's limitless,
yeah.
as is our lives, as, our beliefs, the things we want to do, the things we want to conquer. I think of myself even, doing this, I'm figuring, I'm never going to do this. Why am I ever going to do this?
Yeah. Well,
And
then you
here,
see people like me that you've made a massive difference in my life. And Laura Neal has commented that she had a healing with you yesterday. So, I mean, and that you're amazing. So there's hundreds and hundreds of people that I know that do see you as a healer. But I know that we're in hard times right now, and maybe there's people in my audience that wouldn't necessarily be exposed to the context of who do you get a hold of to get some help. Like I really, truly, before I met Linda, we had to work really hard on me because I saw no value in my life. I was in a very dark spot, and I was sabotaging myself and recreating actually some things from my childhood that I thought that that's all I deserved. And luckily through the work, that we've done over the last several years, I mean, you are not somebody that I will ever, you're a long-term friend, a forever friend. And we do both use each other's services in order to better ourselves. So Linda, I just want to mention to the audience, other than, how amazing you are, if there are people, we're not getting very many questions, so people might be a little bit shy at this time of day, but I just want to let people know that we're going to talk about how do you recognize if you're a type of person that, Linda can help, which to me is anybody, whether you stub your toe or whether you have had a traumatic event. But at the moment, for people watching, Linda has decided to gift out for $200, 3 sessions for $200. So anybody that's watching right now or the repeat video, the code is BLISS, BLISS 301. So that will tell her that you've been watching my videos and that you would like to take advantage of 3 sessions for $200. So that's almost $100 off. But on top of all of that, she's decided to give away a 3-session package. So what you'd have to do is you go on Linda Hayden Carroll's Facebook and you like her Facebook. Okay, so you become a like on her Facebook and a friend. So that is number one thing that you do. Then you email her, and I will be giving you her email. Your first and last name, your email address, and your phone number. In order for her to be able to draw your name, you need to do those things. So she's going to be doing the draw live on her Facebook on May 30th. So it's really important for you guys to follow those steps. And who doesn't like a $200 gift? So Linda, like, thank you for being so kind. I know you're a very busy woman, but you love spreading the love.
Yeah. Well, I understand, everybody now, I mean, there are certain daily stresses of life that we haven't lived previous to this. And I thought, if I have the tools in my toolbox and I could share those, what could I do to help out in what's happening at the moment? And
Yeah.
I thought, okay, reduce the rate, let everybody, for $200, give out 3 sessions. And then I thought, okay, and I'm also going to have a draw. So that would be, that's my gift at this time to everyone who's out there and listening.
So we've had some reactions to that comment, quite a few actually. So we're not getting a lot of comments, but we are getting a ton of reactions, just so you know, Linda. So people are loving that. And I think it's really important that people take advantage of that now, because we do have the time to give Linda a call. So schedule something with her. And from my experience, obviously, I cannot recommend this enough. I've made some massive, massive changes in my life, and it's a beautiful life now. So we have one more thing that Linda is going to do for us today. So those of you that would like to participate, stay on. Those of you that just want to watch us while we participate, stay on. Those of you who are uninterested, pop off.
Okay, so this is, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of anger. There's a lot going on within us at this moment, nervous energy, anxiety, all these things, what will happen, what could happen. And so what I'm going to do is a very simple exercise. And what it does is it starts to release that anger, it releases the stress, it releases the anxiety. And the movements that you do exercise your liver, and in doing so, it all relates to one another. So if everybody just puts their hands on their shoulders, and what we're going to do, I'll explain to you what we'll do. We'll turn to the left, we'll breathe in, and when we turn to the right, we'll breathe out. And we're going to do this for a minute or so to give you some, and I'll guide you through this. If you want to go slower or faster, that's up to you. But it's interesting how something so simple can be so effective.
Yeah.
So I want you all, we're going to breathe in and turn to the left. Breathe out and turn to the right. In to the left and out to the right. And I'm going to let you just create your own momentum, breathing into one side and out to the other. Hands on your shoulders. And just continue doing this and focus on your breath. Where is it going in your body? Can it go lower into your belly? Can you breathe deeper? For every breath that you take in, just try and go a little bit deeper and see how you're feeling. Oh, just again, a little bit deeper. And as you're doing this, it's something you could share with your family, with your children.
I bet Gwen's doing it with Laura right now.
Okay.
That's what I'm imagining.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're 2 or 102. Whatever you could manage with it is perfect.
Now, if people were having a hard time putting their arms up like this, could they do something like this instead?
They could just leave their hands on their knees
And just turn?
Just do the best they can with trying to move from one side to the other side.
Okay.
Do what's comfortable for you. If hands up here is not possible, hands crossed on your heart, one on top of the other. Just find a place where your hands are very comfortable. And like I said, one side to the other. And it's just,
thank you, Linda.
and there's there's just one thing I want to add.
Okay.
I want to tell the audience that, today I'm happy. I really am. Probably the happiest years of my life. And it's a testament of what I went through and where I am today. And that road of mourning and pain is gone. And now it's filled with courage and the freedom to choose how I want to live my life. And that is available to everybody out there, not just me.
That's incredible. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today, Linda. I am going to share your phone number. I'm sorry, your email address, and people can contact you, and I will write what the promotion code is for everybody as well.
Yes. And I also have a website if they want to go to that.
Yeah, so I'm going to put all of that in, and you can add in the comments as well, Linda, if you would like, just in case this becomes like our test run where we were sitting and I was moving plants around and stuff. So I hope you all enjoyed our videos today. We have provided hours of entertainment since 12:30, I do believe. So you're welcome, everyone. And thank you, Linda, from my heart. I love you to pieces. And I will talk to you probably in 10 minutes.
Okay. Love and hugs to everybody.
Thank you for watching, everyone.